Hi, welcome back to my garden. We were gone for a couple of weeks. So today I thought I would take you on my walkabout around the yard so I can see what has bloomed and what survived me being gone and just sort of inspect all the plants. So let's get started. So this is my front bed. Um, Looks like things are starting to fill in nicely. The plumbago is coming up. These are Julia Child roses right here in the front. And let's look and see if there are any aphids. No, not yet. But next to that, this peony is just bursting in color. And we'll go on the little path up over the hill, and I tried to get all of my annuals in the ground before I left. I don't know if that was a smart idea or not. Looks like some of my impatiens are sort of struggling. There was some cold temperatures while I was gone. I think they'll bounce back. So just will take them a little longer, but the hostas are doing great. And this is sort of, I like that it's messy and full. But I also interspersed some geraniums in there, and those seem to be doing okay as well. If you're not familiar with Jupiter's beard, Sitaris rubra, it's a wonderful drought-tolerant plant. It self-seeds. It can go a little crazy, but I love the color. There's also white and a light pink variety, but it blooms all season long as a perennial. Once it's done blooming, you just cut it back and it will continue to bloom. The yarrow's coming up nicely. My top hat irises are blooming. The peonies on this bed are close to blooming. I planted this pot before I left, and it seems to have survived me being gone. And as we come along to the path, this creeping ranunculus, some places will label it as a weed because it does take over. But this time of year, it is such a beautiful color, and it's contrasting to one of my Ito peonies. I have a new Ito back there, lemon chiffon, and those are my first blooms of that one. Everything seems to be doing okay. I have to show you this peony. I dug this up several years ago from a neighbor's yard, and it is such a beautiful, deep, rich red. I don't know what it's called, but it just blooms prolifically. So we seem to have managed to have survived me being gone for those 2 weeks. Let's take a walk to the backyard. So let's head back. The honeysuckle is really filling in. I gave that a really hard prune late winter, and now it is really filling back in. This is an interesting part of the yard because on one side, on this side, it's mostly shade during the day, and on this side is mostly sun during the day. So I can't do the same thing on both sides, but let's look at the roses along here. Looks like we've got maybe a couple of aphids on there. So aphids are both a blessing and a curse. They actually are a sign of a healthy rose bush. So in that regard, they're a great thing to see, but if you have too many, they will impede some of your blooms. So I first start with beneficial insects, and if that doesn't take care of it, then I ratchet it up a notch and go to a light horticultural soap mixed with neem oil. Let's see, oh look, there's aphids on this one too. See all those little aphids? Sometimes I'll just take my hand and squish them. But it looks like everything seems to be doing okay. The clematis is really pretty. Oh, and Queen Elizabeth has come to show us her glory. Look at that beautiful color. The Japanese iris are just starting to bloom. And back here, this is a high noon tree peony that I rescued from a nursery a couple years ago, and this year it has 3 blooms on it. I'm very excited. And while I was gone, this Japanese tree peony bloomed. It was a deep red and it's fading to almost a pink now. The Ito has several blooms. I think everything's still looking good. I planted all my pots before I left, so they seem to survive, so that's good. I like this little hidden pot back here between the spirea. Again, the impatiens are struggling because they had cold temperatures here while I was gone, but I think they'll bounce back. I just need to give them a little time. So those all look great. So one of the things I wanted to do this year was to put pots in little hidden places throughout the yard. Like this one is amongst the pyracantha, and if I come around here, in this corner I have another little shade-loving pot. Seems to be doing okay despite the cold temperatures while I was gone. And so just every so often, this is Singing in the Rain, Ito peony, and oh, it's so pretty. Those yellow apricot with just a tinge of pink. But everything else seems to be okay. And then around here, I have another pot, my shade pot that I planted. It's a mixture of fuchsia and hostas and some coral bells. Looks like I put some trailing lobelia in there, and of course some coleus. And again, I did these little pots just with different shade loving plants throughout this part of the yard. So this was my new thing. I have a new trellis here that I'm starting. The roses probably won't get super tall this year, but they will eventually cover the trellis. So I wanted to talk about aphids and thrips on your roses. First, I try to just manually remove them, and if that doesn't work, then I bump up to beneficial insects. And then, if it's still a problem, I go to a horticultural soap with neem oil. I think I mentioned that. And then, if that still is an issue, then I will go to a spinosad, which is Captain Jack's Dead Bud Crew, but it's still considered organic. So as you can see, I just do step by step, kind of ratcheting up each time, but I'm trying to keep it as organic as possible. The other thing is when I'm going to fertilize everything later on this evening, and I will use fish fertilizer. And I like fish fertilizer because it, A, it's organic, and B, it doesn't burn your plants. So that's important. And so if you use too much or accidentally, it will still be okay. There are a lot of different brands that come. I, just get a big jug that I can dilute from Home Depot or on Amazon. So, but I really like the fish fertilizer. And let's see. Oh, I came across a bud that had something that I haven't seen for a long time. Let me show you. So this is a bud from my Pope John Paul rose. As you can see, there are these little tiny holes in it. That's most likely from a budworm or tobacco worm. Haven't seen these around my yard for a little while, so I'm going to have to keep my eye out because they will go from rose bush to rose bush. But I've pruned the cane down, and now I will dispose of this. So hopefully I've caught it in time, and I'll probably treat it also with the Captain Jack's Dead Bud Crew, just to be on the safe side. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed our little walkabout the yard. And it looks like everything survived me being gone, so that was quite a relief. And if you have any questions about roses or perennials, feel free to send those along. So until next time, have a great afternoon.